water's blue. Echoes come gently drifting on the night. Gently he murmurs neath the pale moonlight. You, me, happy will be under a tree down by the sea. I'll serenade you, sweet ukulele maid. We two never be blue. You like me and I like you. Kisses I'll trade you, sweet ukulele maid. And when the blue sea is all a-gleaming, each tree was silver streaming, while we are idly dreaming there, dear. You'll croon your hula song, then hand in hand we'll wander along to paradise, my sweet ukulele maid. Lovebirds are all a-cooing in the trees. They sing their love notes to the summer breeze. Sweet hours that lovers only understand. This song he's singing by the golden sand. You, me, happy will be under a tree down by the sea. I'll serenade you, sweet ukulele maid. We two never be blue. You like me and I like you. Kisses I'll trade you, sweet ukulele maid. And when the blue sea is all a-gleaming, each tree was silver streaming, while we are idly dreaming there, dear. You'll croon your hula song, then hand in hand we'll wander along to paradise, my sweet ukulele maid. To paradise, my sweet ukulele maid. Fun song, written in 1928, I believe, by Jimmy Campbell and Reg Connolly, who you should look them up because they wrote some other songs that you're probably familiar with. Some pretty good ones. This was recommended to me by my friend Mike in England, who's a Mac Ferry Islander fan. So thanks, Mike, for the recommendation. He sent me the sheet music, which I believe was in the key of F, which was up on the upper ends of my register. And so I transposed it into D, and I added quite a few things that wasn't on the sheet music. It's interesting because the song is an interesting song, but it was one of the sheet musics where it's actually notated for ukulele in a very simple fashion, and I made it more complicated, which is not usually how I do it. So we're in the key of D, and I'm just going to walk you through some of the chords, because some of the chords you're going to be familiar with, but I've got different names on them because of the key it's in. When you're used to playing in the key of C, you're used to C diminished, and now we're in the key of D, and diminished chords take on different names, like a lot of them do, but diminished chords can have 4 different names. So you'll know these shapes, so don't look at them and go, oh, I don't know any of those chords. Yes, you do. You just don't know them by that name. It's like knowing a guy named Bob and not knowing his real given name is Jimmy, but everybody calls him Bob. So anyway, we got our D, and I make my D with my pointer on that 2nd string, 3rd fret, and then I call it putting the cowboy on the horse and putting his feet in the saddle, in the stirrups. So you got your cowboy on and put your feet in the stirrups, and there's our D. And then the next chord up is an A sharp 7. So if we think about our A7, only we're going to make our A7 this way and slide it up. There's our A sharp 7 down to our A7, back to our D. The next chord up is a D sharp diminished, D sharp with a small d diminished. And that's the same as a C diminished chord. Okay, so it's 2 3 2 3. Next chord up is an A7, Next chord up is a D, so here we're at our A7. We can just slide up and put the feet in the stirrups, and we got a D. Now we have an A sharp or A7 augmented, which is we slide back down to our A7, and then we go onto our first or second string first fret right there, and it kind of gives us that anxiety, that kick off to the next chord, which is a D. And then we have this same walk down of A sharp 7 to an A7 to a D sharp diminished, and then we have, which is that C diminished, and then we have an A, and then we come up with an A sharp diminished. Now you're going to know this by another name, but it's open 1, open 1. And we already have our finger there for the A, right? So we can pick it up and swing it down for our A sharp diminished. And then we have our E7, and then we have our A. So that's it for both verses. And I know I went through it quickly, but if you'll play the video a couple times, you'll get it. Now we're going to enter the verse. So we make our D, we get our cowboy on the horse, and we put the feet in the stirrups. We have our D. Now on the sheet music, this just went forever on the key on a F chord, which is extremely boring. And so I did add quite a few things here in notation to make it more interesting with the ukulele playing. Instead of just strumming along on this, now what I transposed into D, it would be, you, me, happy will be under a tree down by the sea. Whew, is that ever boring, right? Now here's a neat little thing. All I did was in D. Now I got the cowboy on the horse and got the feet in the stirrups. If we slide our cowboy back, we have our F sharp minor. So it's 2, 1, 2, open. So it's sort of like a G7 shape, only pick it up, bring it up there. That's our F sharp minor. And the neat thing about it is you'll encounter this in the key of D a lot, or you can, because you can just be strumming and rock back and forth between the D and the F sharp minor and have fun with it that way. So we got our D, we have our F sharp minor, we have our D, we have our F sharp minor. Now we encounter our D sharp diminished again, which is that C diminished. Then we go back to D and A7. Let's see, the next weird chord we encounter here. Let's see. We've done all of them. It's the end of the song. The end of the song, I end up on, you'll recognize when I go, to paradise, my sweet ukulele maid. And then I repeated it. To paradise, my sweet ukulele maid. And then we go, it's really difficult. Swing it around. C sharp 6 and a D6. Perfect example of when you see a bunch of letters or whatever, a notation on a ukulele chord, not to be afraid of it. A C sharp 6. Sounds scary, right? And here's a D6. So it gives us that happy hole kind of a sound, just like our A sharp 7. When we go, soft night is folding down in Honolulu, that little, it kind of has a turnaround in the middle of the phrase. And that's what happens here at the end. We just have that, gives us that little islander sound. So have fun with the song. Go to UkesterBrown. It's Sweet Ukulele Maid, written in 1928 by Jimmy Campbell and Reg Connolly. Like I say, if you got time and you're curious, check them out on Wikipedia and find out what other songs they've written. You might be surprised. That's all I got for you right now. Have a great day, and thanks again, Mike, for the suggestion. It's a fun song. Go over to UkesterBrown and check out the song sheet. Sweet Ukulele Maid.